the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom. Come on in.
East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC.
Come on in, brothers and sisters. Come on in.
Syrian king, he took us down, we fell.
With the great escape. Come on.
Through the Euphrates,
Come on.
the Lord held the water still.
To a land where no mankind dwelt.
To a land where no mankind dwelt,
We went.
The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans,
Ephraim from Puerto Rico. The Most High is calling back Israel.
Lord is calling back Israel. Babylon, from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, the highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told
Blessings, blessings.
together our wives and children that sold us.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
Belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gathering
Hi, Martin. Whoa.
from Australia. Issachar, the Mexicans. A highest gathering Israel.
You.
Highest gathering Israel.
Yeah, the Most High is gathering Israel. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly broadcast, podcast, whatever you all would like to call it. All praises be to the Most High, Ahaya, Ashah, Ahaya, Ahaya in the name of Yeshaya, through the Rawchaa. We thank the Most High God of the Hebrews in the name of Christ for another opportunity to come before you in such a very prophetic time. In such a prophetic time. Now, okay, the real Donald Trump, if you don't stop trolling, we're gonna send you into gigabyte land. Okay? No trolling today, the real Donald Trump, all right? We're going to be lenient. If you want to come in and talk, I'll be more than happy to converse with you. But no trolling, okay? So the next time you troll the real Donald Trump, we'll see you in gigabyte land. Make a new account to troll later, okay? Okay, I'm going to try to preserve my voice as much as possible tonight. Right? I was teaching all weekend. We went through a fast. I've been on conversations. I'm doing absolutely excellent. I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahia. So I'm going to be very efficient with this broadcast tonight. And so to save my my throat, I have to sing. I have to sing in a few days, right? So let's talk about it. We're the Gathering of Christ Church. I'm Elder Rawchaa, and as you can see the title, The Beginning of Troubles Revealed. Now, what exactly does this mean? I'm going to drop exactly what's going on. It's not a coincidence. We're in the 7th month. The 7th month starts with what? The trump or the trumpet. The first day of the 7th month, according to Leviticus 23, a trumpet is blown, which is a new month or new season, which brings in the autumn and at the same time the end of summer. Once that 7th month trump happens, the children of Israel in the wilderness were warned to get themselves together. Why? On the 10th day of that same month, the Most High would come down and receive the sacrifices for our sins for that year backward. Okay? A new slate. And then after that, on that same weekend, we would go out into the wilderness, tabernacles, out in the wilderness to remember what it was like being amongst one another when the Most High had the children of Israel wandering in the wilderness. Now check out how the world powers send messages under what they call geomantra. At the same time, our God is showing signs for our Savior's, our Christ's return. Same time. So let me tell you, I was listening keenly last night, but I was probably listening to the dynamics more so concerning prophecy than the horse and pony show called and presidential debate. I was listening to what I needed to hear according to what's going to happen very soon. And I thought I would convey that to you all this evening. Trump, 7th month, in the month of what? The trump. 10th day of the 7th month, September 10th. We're coming off of our fast yesterday. Right? A debate. Trump in the scriptures is a sign or message. Usually there's distinct sounds of a trumpet, according to the Hebrews, knowing what to do, what month we're in, what season we're in, when the Most High is going to bring judgment. All of that, there were distinct trumps in the Old Testament as a sign for Israel to prepare. And what's going on in this month is no different. I thank the Most High that He gave us that 364-day calendar, so that we can be right on schedule according to the Sabbaths of weeks, months, and years. So last night when that debate was going on, my ears were keenly peeled on everything that was going on. My ear, I listened to everything. And you know what? I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to hear what Trump and Kamala is talking about. I'm going to listen to both of them to hear the corporate message. What is the plan by the corporations for the future of this world is what I was listening to. Each side has a plan to play, or has a role to play, a better word, for the corporate structure. So instead of you listening to one against the other, because usually we all know these things happen every 4 years. Same old cycle. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. This person is bad. This person is good. But if you listen keenly, prophetically, and understand what the Bible is saying, you're able to hear the message they're conveying to those who can see. What is the corporate message? And what does that corporate message mean for the world? Well, I have a few clips I want to actually go over with you all. This is definitely the beginning of trouble. And at the same time, it's the same modus operandi. It's the same model, different characters that the Roman Empire used to come against our people in 70 AD. And the trumpet has been sound. And that's what yesterday's message, for those who was listening, that exactly is what yesterday's message was conveying. I need y'all to hear this real quick and understand. Let's go back in history real quick. Let's go back in history, if you will. I'll pull up something here. Please hit the like button. Now, I have a few clips on cue. What is the message the Satanist, the corporate structure, what is the messages they were conveying through yesterday's debate? Because we all know ABC, the corporations, are ran, the media conglomerates are ran by the corporations. We know that Satan is he's the all-seeing eye over the corporations. So I need y'all to bear with me. I'm gonna slow walk this real quick with a little history. This is not just biblical history. This is also secular history. Nero's reign of terror. How Christians became scapegoat for Rome's problems. History skills. Okay, this is a great site. If you're going into history, usually we use some of this during the Gathering of Christ Church's Hebrew and Bible Academy. It's a lot of real good, efficient history that you can actually grasp from this particular site, because it just doesn't go into what we would call religious history. It shows you how history and so-called religious history coincides at the same time. Okay? What happened in 64 AD? There was a guy by the name of Nero, a Roman emperor. Nero's reign of terror. He would be equivalent to what we would call the president of the United States today. How Christians became scapegoats for Rome's problems. Rome was suppressing the children of Israel. No doubt about it throughout history. I'm going to go into those scriptures in a moment. So they had to come up with false flags, so to not seem tyrannical or specific in targeting God's people. So they had to come up with political scenarios that would demonize the children of Israel before coming after them. Now, the Romans weren't really worried about the the Sanhedrin Jews, the European Jews. They were more worried about those Jews who believed in Christ. Why? Because according to the Roman sages, their seers, the threat of one who would destroy their empire would come through the seed of David. So during the times of the Caesars, from Julius Caesar on, going up to Augustus after him, subsequent to him, then all the way up to Nero, they feared the so-called omen. The omen was that if they didn't stop this belief that unites the world behind the children of Israel, Rome would cease to exist. That the children of Israel were deemed a threat. Listen to me clearly. A threat to the republic. So, but see, there was a love-hate relationship with our people, the children of Israel, and the Roman Empire. They hated us during this time simply because of the omen, the prophecy of one who would come through Judah and through the future would topple the world and bring all the kingdoms under Christ's empire. They feared that. A love-hate relationship. They hated the omen, but they loved the fact that Israel did so much for the Roman Empire when it came to warfare, strategies. It was the children of Israel who would go out to war and win them and win these wars for Rome. So it was a love-hate. We can't get rid of them because there's no soldiers like the children of Judah, Benjamin, Levi. They help us win wars. They're multi-talented. We had gifts in the arts, architects. When it comes to ingenuity, science, that was all our people whom the Romans were using to take down their enemies. Love, hate. But here's the problem. Christ came on the scene and brought what? He brought a doctrine that could not be refuted. And Christ didn't compromise. He wasn't about playing the game, the political game, to get along through authority. Christ would point out the evil, and it doesn't matter who was perpetrating the evil, whether it be the Roman Empire, white people, or whether it be his own people, the children of Israel, who a lot of our people in the Sanhedrin and others were sellouts. He taught with much authority. The Roman Empire wanted to bribe him. They wanted to pay him to be a part of their establishment, or at least become a leader amongst those who were paid by the Roman Empire. He didn't take the bag. Like a lot of those so-called Israelite groups out there right now. I believe some of them have already taken the bag, where they made an agreement with government. Another thing, his own people, he couldn't compromise him. He said, listen, I came not down to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. The Pharisees couldn't bribe him. The Sadducees couldn't bribe him. He belonged to no one but the Father only, to do what? The Father's will on earth, which made him a threat. So they thought after his crucifixion, the Romans thought that they've rid the earth of that threat. They thought it was over. Listen, he's dead now. But here's the problem. Once they killed him, something happened. The truth concerning his ministry began to spread throughout the earth like wildfire. To a degree, the Romans had to question whether or not it was better off leaving him alone, alive, compared to how many people have come to this truth they feared before they killed him. So they said, listen, he's not the problem no more. Those disciples and what they're spreading is spreading like wildfire. Because not only did this Christ rise from the grave, he has a doctrine that cannot be refuted. Our wise men cannot refute this doctrine. Our sages fear this doctrine. We have to set the children of Israel up. We have to set up a political party, a clandestine party within Rome that not only watches Israel, but would demonize them so that Rome could have the moral high ground when going against their future enemy. Nero's reign of terror. How Christians became scapegoats for Rome's problems. Everything, even though Rome was evil, sadistic, perverted, they was into this PR where they had to use this facade of justice as a government when they were a bunch of freaks, sinners, unrepentant, evil workers. So when the evil would catch up with them, they would scapegoat our people. Anything wrong that they've created, they would put on the children of Israel. If they were dealing with and they had them, I'm going to show you where I'm going here. Rome perfected brothels. What are brothels? Well, if children were born to quote unquote bastards or orphans, these children would make their bones throughout Roman civilization or within the capital by first making their bones in the harlot houses, be it boy or girl. You could actually buy boys or girls in the market legally. It wasn't human trafficking. It was legal in Rome. As long as that child didn't belong to a family, if that child survived through the brothels, selling themselves and make it up into the political realm, and that happened often, that child would have to make moans, struggle through all of that trauma, and they would use that trauma because that person who dealt with all these other people had information. And that information was key to keep the republic intact. Spies. So they used their brothel houses to spy on their enemies. And their children and all of that, orphans, were a part of it. And of course, that's some evil, that's a stain on Rome. But anytime people would look into that stain on Rome when it comes to their perversions, they would say, well, listen, even though we've perfected perversions and made perverts of our own children, look at this black woman right here. That's really the bad within Rome. Even though we've created this black woman to do what pales in comparison to us. They would always scapegoat our people, even though they were the what? They were the artificers. They were the creators of perversion. Oh yeah. Look at Cardi B. Look at Sexy Red. But just forget all the thousands of people and thousands of children that are being trafficked all throughout this earth by the same people giving you their scapegoat. That's just one example of many. But for the sake of time, let me get into it. How Christians became scapegoats for Rome's problems. Nero, the infamous Roman emperor who ruled from 54 to 68 CE. It was around 64 AD or CE when he burned some markets in the market. Well, they said that he was behind some spies he sent out, military, to burn a few markets in the marketplace and blame it on Israelites. So don't be confused when they say Christians, because these weren't just regular Christians. I'm going to show you. He's notorious for his persecution of Christians. Well, we were the Christians. How do you know that? When one go to Acts 13. When you go to Acts 13, let me pull this up real quick. It says here, now there were in the church that was in Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger. This was the first church under Peter. The first church under Peter. And it tells us in in same chapter, same book, Acts 11 and 26. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that the whole year that assembled themselves with the church, the first church, taught many people, and the disciples were called Christians first at Antioch. So there was no such people as Christians until Peter and the disciples were called Christians at the first church, Antioch. Now, go back to Acts 13 and 1 again. Now, there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger. Well, when you go into the word Niger, let's go there real quick. 1 second. Let's get it in the Greek. Acts 13 and 1. Let's get it in the Greek real quick. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger. Greek word Niger or Niger, Greek 3526. Right here. Look at that. Niger. Niger. In the Latin, black. A matter of fact, let's blow it up so you can see it. See that? Look at it. Right, so you can see it. Greek. That's why over here they couldn't say it like that, like they do over in Europe. So they started calling us nigger. Niger, nigger, or black. The first church. Niger, a Christian. So when you go into history of the Roman Empire, when they talk about Christians, they're talking about black people. Okay? They're talking about black people. Romans were pagan Romans. So not to get it confused with Christians today. The Christians today would be considered Roman pagans. Okay? The Christians today are not a threat at all to the Roman powers, the European powers. Now, the Christians that Christ set up, well, that's a little something different. Okay? Now let's get back to where we were. Nero, the infamous Roman emperor who ruled from 54 to 68 BC, CE, is notorious for his persecution of Christians, which we all know at this time were black. Nero's reign was characterized by political turmoil, economic instability. Sounds similar today, right? We have political turmoil in America, economic instability, and widespread social unrest. We're actually at the same point now in history as America than Rome was at this time period in the first century. We're almost in the same place politically Nero was. What was Nero dealing with? Political turmoil, economic instability, same thing, and widespread social unrest. So what would he do? He would blame everything that was wrong on our people, as if we're behind shaping legislation that leads to how wicked America or this world has become. As if we are responsible for the downfall of America. So politically, they were seeking to do what? Scapegoat our people. Killing two birds with one stone. Turning the people against those who believe in Christ and taking out their common enemy, because the Christians are the only ones at this time who could oppose their wickedness and exposing them, showing forth throughout the world their true intentions against the world. Their true intentions against people. During this time, Christianity was still a new and growing religion, and its followers were often viewed with suspicion and hostility by Roman authorities, by the police, by the Roman guards, the Roman military used as police. They would treat us differently than other Roman citizens. They would shake us down. They would ask us questions. They would see us as a suspect, even without probable cause. They'll make up probable cause. Doesn't this sound familiar? Nero's persecution of Christians was a significant turning point in the early history of Christianity, and it had a profound impact on the development of the religion. The spread of Christianity in the churches leading up to Nero's persecution was a gradual process that was marked by both success and opposition. We were a focus. Okay, Nero was obsessed with us, even though we were the minority in comparison. in comparison. And I'm talking about political influence and power. Christianity began as a small sect within Judaism. That's a lie. No Judaism. These were Israelites. So now they're telling you that these were black Jews who were Christians. Our people were never dealing with a religion called Judaism. Judaism comes from what the Samaritans were dealing with. The Samaritans were dealing with in the land of Samaria. When the 10 tribes were taken out of Israel, the northern kingdom, when they started dealing with witchcraft, child sacrifice, but still they would follow the law when it comes to the priesthood. So that's where Judaism comes from. That's mysticism, craft. So don't try to mix what Christ and the disciples were dealing with Judaism. Judaism has its own origin. The Judaism religion's origin is Babylonian and from the Canaanites. So I got to do some correction for some of these so-called historians here. Christianity began as a small sect within Judaism in the 1st century CE and gradually expanded beyond its Israelite roots, not Jewish, Israelite roots, to encompass a diverse group of believers from all walks of life. We even started converting Romans, who are white people. One of the key factors in the spread of Christianity was the work of the apostles, including Peter and Paul, who traveled extensively throughout the Mediterranean world to spread the message of Yeshua Mashiach, whom the world called Jesus Christ. These early missionaries established new communities of believers and wrote letters and other works that helped to define and spread the teachings of Christianity. Another important factor in the spread of Christianity was its message of hope and salvation. Yeah, there's a little bit more to that. Dominion and power and rulership was also a part of that doctrine, which threatened the Roman Empire. Okay, hope is what Obama gives you. Christ brings forth the kingdom. At a time when many people of the Roman Empire were openly incorporating more foreign gods into their religious system, Christianity offered an attractive vision of a better world based on love, compassion. I don't know about this equality thing, because if Christ is king, Caesar going to be equal with him. So you can chuck that word equality. That equality never existed, ever, and never will. And I'm okay with that. Equality is a fool's errand. I'll tell you what, when you accomplish, when you fulfill you're getting hope. Whenever you actually get that hope they're promising, you'll find equality. Why did Nero target Christians? Well, the motivations behind Nero's persecution of Christians are complex and multifaceted. There is no one single reason for Nero's hostility towards Christians. I think this historian here needs to join the academy, because there is a reason. It was the omen amongst the Roman Empire that there was a king who would come, according to prophecy, that will one day take down and destroy the Roman Empire and put all nations under the children of Israel through our King Christ. That's why Nero had a problem with these Christians. Okay, these Christians weren't bringing the Rainbow Coalition with Jesse Jackson, okay? I don't know what type of Christian is that. But rather a combination of political, social, and religious factors that contributed to his actions. One possible motivation for Nero's persecution of Christians was political. Listen to this and listen to this good while I go into the Trump discussion today, this evening. Nero's persecution of Christians was political. So it's about time our people begin to understand politics. Okay? And when they say the Bible have nothing to do with politics, they're out of their minds. They set up a political structure, had that political structure in place to oppose the prophetic people. See, there's a difference between a republic and a democracy. I'll go into that another time. But if you believe in this Bible, you better understand politics. Because what the children of Israel was teaching, I'm talking about the true Christians. It would disrupt the political norm. Why? Because Esau rules through deception. And only the truth can expose his true intent. For example, before I get back to this, for example, if you understand that Esau felt slighted by Jacob from the beginning, and him and Ishmael were seeking to take Jacob down. Why? There was a prophecy that Jacob, through Abraham and Isaac, would one day rule the earth and beyond. If Esau one day got that opportunity to rule, he'll never tell the other nations, well, listen, y'all helping me to rule, but I don't seek to share any of this with none of you. He can't do that because then what? Then he'll lose his help against us. So he come with this world kumbaya, all people equal facade. So to have all nations operate together with him against us until it's their turn to be destroyed. See, under his political structure, he can deceive people like that. But the Christians knew better. We knew what their intents were once they received power. It was in the word. It was all through the word what Esau was trying to do. Okay? So no way he could try to fool the Christians. Peter and Paul, we knew what Rome was doing. This is why even Paul stated the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Don't wait for a new Antichrist. The Antichrist is in Rome. See? So this is why our people got in the way of the political systems or disturbed Nero politics. Because why? It was us exposing their true nature, their true intent for the world. They meant the world no good. And they couldn't encompass us or bring us into this kumbaya because we understood politically who they were. And it was based on what? Not just who they were prophetically, but the immorality they hid in darkness. They were immoral, perverted. See? And the law exposed their hypocrisy. So guess what? They could no longer operate under a facade when true Christians were present. Nero's persecution of Christians were political. Nero was known for his authoritarian rule, and was often at odds with various groups in Roman society, including the Senate, the military, and the Israelites. I don't know about no Jewish population. We were Israelites. Okay? And we are Israelites. Christianity was seen as a threat to the established order. See? Now, this is when Christianity was true Christianity and not this mess we see today. Christianity was seen as a threat to the established order, as it rejected the traditional Roman gods. That's right, the Israelites weren't celebrating Christmas, Easter, Sunday worship. We were rejecting all of their Roman holidays and did not recognize the authority of the emperor. See, Christ is king. Christ was and is our king. By persecuting Christians, Nero may have been seeking to assert his power and authority over a group that he saw as a potential source of dissent and rebellion. Another possible motivation by Nero's persecution of Christians was social. Christianity was a new growing religion in the Roman Empire, and it challenged traditional social hierarchies by promoting the idea of equality and brotherhood among all believers, regardless of social status or background. Well, one thing about this is what he's saying here. There was no respect to persons. You weren't going to get some status amongst those who believe in Christ strictly based on what you did out in the world, being recognized as somebody big in the Roman Empire. And they didn't like that. They thought that if they were somebody in the world, they should have that same status amongst those who believe in Christ. And no, Christ told that rich man, nah, sell everything you have and follow me. Okay? Not that rich man wasn't going to receive 100-fold, because he would have. Let's see who you are without your things, without your status. Let's see what's in you, your heart, your spirit. Let's see if you're so attached to this world that you're willing to what? Not build within. It was a test. And they didn't like that, because some people, the things they have in the world, that status, that's all they've ever acquired. With no building within, with no spirit within them at all. You strip away the status the world have given them and strip it away the money, and they feel worthless. They feel they have nothing. And you know what? Christ would test every man the same way. What are you willing to give up to be accepted in his kingdom? What are you willing to give up to become a real somebody? And see, the Romans didn't like that. Why? Because the Romans could make you rich. And if you disobey or cross the Romans, they would take who you are and everything you work for away. Because it was their power to give it to you. See? They didn't like that about Christians, because Christians starts off with nothing. The true believers, and are built by Christ and are shaped by Christ. And their status, the world cannot claim they gave that to those who truly believe in Christ. See? Stick with me here. That was a threat, because now the Roman Empire cannot hold anything over these men. See? See? The real test is not when you have everything. The real test is, what can you do from the bottom with only you and the Most High there? That's the real test. Huh? And they don't like that, because why? If they build your status and feel they can take it away, think about this, folks. They'll always have one up over you. And it was something about these true believers in Christ Nero couldn't deal with. Why? They weren't going to compromise with the Roman government. So what did he do? So check out what he did, Nero. Nero's cruel punishments for Christians. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Even though this is saying Christians right here, for those who missed it, we know that according to the book of Acts, these Christians were black. So black people in America and others, whether you ascribe to the religion Christianity or not, this is talking about you. This is talking about you. Okay? Historically, these were your people. Now, of course, there's many people who believe in Christ, God, and the Bible, and would never step foot in one of these Christian churches. And you know what? I wouldn't blame them. Those are the Christians Nero feared. Those who wouldn't compromise and celebrate Sunday instead of Saturday. Because the Most High in that same Bible said, remember the Sabbath. Wasn't going to compromise Passover for Easter to make the emperor happy. See? According to the Roman historian Tacitus, this is history, folks, Nero himself may have been responsible for starting the fire, although this claim is disputed by some scholars. Now, when you look in the annals of Rome, Tacitus, I believe Tacitus was correct. Tacitus didn't have a dog in a fight. Tacitus was a white man. And he said he knew that Nero dressed up some people looking like black Christians, sent them in the markets to actually burn certain areas to demonize Christians as a pretext of what? The Senate coming together in an agreement with Nero, even though they didn't like him, but that united the government against our people, where what? The Senate voted to have armies, that's right, folks, patrolling Jerusalem for the first time in history. Roman armies not patrolling Rome. We used to police ourselves in Israel. For the first time, after this happened in 64 AD, it began the Roman Empire infiltrating our people by patrolling us with military in Jerusalem. See? Tacitus was correct. Nero was eager to deflect blame for the disaster. He seized upon the growing Christian community as a convenient scapegoat. Scapegoat. Let me show y'all something real quick. Speaking of scapegoat, NBC News, fair use. Brooklyn is charged with hate crimes. Police say Vincent T. Sumter shouted "Free Palestine" before attacking the man near a synagogue in Brooklyn. Listen to this, folks. Fair use.
An alleged anti-Semitic hate crime caught on camera. You see a group of men wearing traditional Jewish clothing walking down a Brooklyn street when they're approached by a man in purple who,
while they are approached by a man in purple, fair use. What is this, folks?
New York City, an alleged anti-Semitic hate crime caught on camera. You see a group of men wearing traditional.
A grainy camera with all the technology we have today, y'all. It's never a clear camera. Listen, there's no 4K cameras anywhere anymore. It's always some grainy camera.
In New York City, an alleged anti-Semitic hate crime caught on camera. You see a group of men wearing traditional Jewish clothing walking down a Brooklyn street when they're approached by a man in purple.
When they are approached by a man in purple
who lunges at them and, according to the complaint, stabs one of them in the abdomen while shouting, "Free Palestine" and "Do you want to die?"
Now I'm looking at, I would never, I'm against any level of violence. But I'm still, with the white shirts, I was seeking to see if there was any blood anywhere, but I digress.
Stabs one of them in the abdomen while shouting, "Free Palestine" and "Do you want to die?" The 22-year-old suspect was later charged with attempted murder and a hate crime. The victim is in the
Look at the shirt, folks. Look at the grainy shirt.
Hospital in stable condition. It's the latest in a wave of alleged anti-Semitic attacks to strike New York City.
Raise your hand.
Well, keep it there. I'm showing you how history repeats itself. Something must happen. Something politically must happen to turn the citizens against a particular ideology that threatens the social construct. That's politics. Now, there's more. Burning Rome, burning Christians. Okay. This is published online by Cambridge University Press. In the year 64, during the Principate of Nero, and in the night between July 18th and 19th, a fire broke out in Rome that within 9 days destroyed or badly damaged a substantial part of the city, leaving many dead or homeless. Rumors circulated that the fire had been set by Nero, who it was claimed sought to divert blame from himself by holding responsible a new sect of aggressively proselytizing Jews. These are Israelites, folks, known as Christians. Most recent scholarship has rejected the popular view of Nero as an arsonist who fiddled while Rome burned. But Tacitus' history is correct, folks. Don't listen to your modern day historians. I've read this in the Annals of Rome. They all know that this was politically motivated. Largely ignored, however, has been the question of whether the Christians, generally regarded as innocent scapegoats of Nero, might in fact have played some role in the fire. This chapter considers the problematic nature of Christianity and Roman attitudes towards Christians in the first century. You know why? Because that was us before the fall of Jerusalem. And they're using the same tactics, seeking the same outcome today. And I'm going to show you it came out in that debate today. Last night. Antiquities of Tacitus in the Annals of Rome. I've read this before. The Annals. I have the Annals, in my library. Because I wanted to study their political trends. The Bible states there's nothing new under the sun. So everything they did before, because our people are so naive, they'll just play the same thing out again. They'll do a false flag, and as a pretext, they'll have foreign armies policing where the children of Israel, who are predominantly Christians, live. As a pretext to rid the earth of Israel altogether. Now, let's get a few points from the debate, if you want to call it that. Now, before I go over a few of the excerpts that I would like to point out, 7th month, we're in the month of Trump. So, of course, the corporations would sound off through their two politicians their plans against the children of Israel in the earth, if you were listening. So let me show you how the game is played. ABC's moderator, the person who was truly debating Trump last night, Lindsay Davis, is a Sora of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So where they do that at? Where the person moderating a debate is in a sisterhood with who? Let me get it. In a sisterhood with Kamala, who is Alpha Kappa Alpha. Where they do that at? Huh? So let's talk about this. Now, she did a better job debating Trump last night than Kamala. Y'all should have just said that y'all wanted a team, but it's all good. Where they do that at? Now, let me make it clear, y'all brothers and sisters. Politics is not a monolith. What do I mean by that? Are Kamala and Trump political enemies? Absolutely. Okay. Politics and the politicians and their groups they have within the political arena, let me tell you folks, there's nuances. It's not as if Trump and Kamala got together and said, well, I'm going to say this and you say that. It doesn't work that way. It's like a game of musical chairs, right? If you're playing musical chairs and they take one chair out and the corporation places the bag on one chair, when the music stops, whoever sits on that chair gets the bag. And this is why they fight. There's infighting within the political circles. So a lot of people think it's as simple as it's all what you would call a script when they come together. It's not like that, because as money dry up, the corporations are choosing who's going to be there when the music stops. And it doesn't matter which side win. The corporation have something they're pushing towards to destroy our people on either side. So what I like to do when I hear these debates, even though I believe that this woman, no one had voted her in, she's unqualified, and above all, it's utterly ridiculous when someone try to cosplay us after all of our people have gone through. But I'm pushing that to the side to hear what the corporations are saying, not just through Trump, not just through Kamala. The questions that are given them both, folks, the questions that ABC are using has been given to them by the corporate powerhouses, the interest groups, those who really control the world. So you have to listen to the questions to know what's coming. Fair use. Fair use. Now, before I go into this, let me show you, according to the Bible, what was the end result of what Nero politically put into play. So this is what eventually happened. So, what happened? 64 BC, Nero, according to Tacitus, produced a political false flag. Fires broke out in different markets within the Roman Empire, blamed on black Israelites or those who believed in Christ. Okay? That united the Senate to actually do what? Agree with their political nemesis, Nero, to get some level of patrolling through the Roman army in Jerusalem to watch our people, which led to 6 years later, 70 AD, after the regime change, some 6 years later, after the regime change, Vespasian and Titus, his son Titus, General Titus, put a trench around Jerusalem using who? Those who initially began to patrol Jerusalem for reconnaissance as spies. And the same people they got to patrol Jerusalem end up taking the people down, and our people fell through mass slaughter in Jerusalem. A lot of us ran into Africa, Morocco, and different parts. This is history. And it started off with a false flag. So now, let's look at their modus operandi. They demonize through false flag. Put things out there that these are the bad guys. Then, as a pretext so that they can have the citizens feel safe, you know what? We're just going to have some army police you all for a while until things calm down. But at the end of it, like in Masada, they built a wall around Jerusalem for those who would try to escape, only to be destroyed by the same army who were within the borders of the wall. Look up Masada in the Josephus War of the Jews. They built a wall, not to keep people out, but to keep people in. Let's read it. I'm in Luke 20, 21 and 20. After what Nero did, it was guess what? What was the pretext that led to Vespasian and Titus now coming against Jerusalem some 6 years later? Where there were some Israelites who started showing forth military force against Rome, confirming the fears of the Roman Empire, giving credibility to now Nero's political construct to come against the Israelites. Everyone knew that Nero was a nut job. But then when Nero was no longer in place, you had Israelites now showing themselves as a political force in the Roman Empire, now giving Nero the nut job credibility. And given what? Rome the moral, political high ground to not come against these nut job Israelites who want to show some political force, but to come against all of Israel, all of Jerusalem. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, that means armies are all within the borders. And you have to look at that same time period from the time of the false flag to the time there's foreign troops policing our people. Then know that the desolation thereof is near. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. A lot of our people did, who followed Christ, who understood the prophecy. This is Christ speaking, mind you. One of his last warnings before he would do what? Be resurrected to the Father. And let them which are in the midst of it, the city, depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So if you are in the rural areas or in the country areas, do not go into the city at this time. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Woe unto them that are with child. I'm going to show you why it says woe to them with child, because on Kamala's side, she has a plan for the children. And to them that give suck. In those days, for there shall be a great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, the Roman sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. It led to our slavery, our captivity. Christ warned us this would happen. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. So the people over there in the Middle East are Gentiles. When we left, Gentiles went into the land. Until, so there's a cutoff point, the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. That's right, folks. The Most High God has an ending for the Gentiles. He has a time. He's only allotted them a certain amount of time before judgment. Now that we're coming up on that time, Rome has begun the same plan against us all over the world. Now, let's go now. Ski-wee, Alpha Kappa Alpha. And who's the moderator? The moderator, Lindsay Davis, sorority of Alpha Kappa Alpha. Now let's see what the corporations are telling us concerning time. What are the messages that most people are missing while viewing this? These are corporate messages to the world for those who can understand and not get caught up into the horse and pony show. You have to hear the questions that are coming from them, because they didn't come up with these questions. The questions came from who? The lobbyists, the corporations. So if you hear the questions, you'll know where the world powers are thinking to go politically in the next 4 years. You should listen to everything they say and understand prophecy. They've been given their talking points, their questions, so that they could, through their lesser magic, their social programming, adjust people to understand what they'll be experiencing in the earth for the next 4 years. Be it from one side or the other, all of the talking points are coming from one place. Fair use. Educational purposes only.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Nice to see you. Have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and
The economy and the cost of living in this country.
President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
Now, before she answers the question, brothers and sisters, let's do something. As far as the price for food, living, interest rates, groceries, I need you all to answer the question in the chat. When it comes to the cost of living, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? If yes, put a 1 in the chat. If no, if you're not better off, put a 2 in the chat. One, if everything is better off than it was 4 years ago, put a 1 in the chat. If it was. If it is. If it isn't better than it was 4 years ago, put a 2 in the chat. Look at this. Look at this. Nothing but 2s. Look at this. Keep it going. Keep it going. This is insane. This is insane. You know what? I'm going to put this on the screen. Everyone needs to see this. All the 2s I'm seeing here. This is ridiculous. Look at this. I got to put this on the screen. Look at this. Let's try it again. If everything is better financially today than it was 4 years ago, put 1 in the chat. If it's not, if things are worse off than it was 4 years ago, put 2 in the chat. We're going to make our own poll here. We're going to do our own poll. Look at this. Look. That don't make no sense. You know what? Look at this. Look at this. We're doing our own poll. We're making our own poll here. Right now we got 2,400 people here. Hit the like button if you haven't already. So we're polling over 2,400 people right now. I've seen only 1 in the chat, and I'm sure that was a troll. Or maybe it is better off for that particular individual than it was 4 years ago. Then we have to wonder, what was that person's status 4 years ago, right? Look at this. 2. Anonymously, right? There's an anonymous 1 second here. Two. One says, look at this. So the consensus is what? Things are worse. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for that. Because, I mean, you can't trust a CNN poll these days, right? I appreciate that. So let's get back to the so-called debate. Let's get back to the so-called debate. I really appreciate that. Let's get back to it. So let's go back to the question again. And guess what? Let's see if Kamala Let's see how Kamala answers the question. Is America better off now than it was 4 years ago?
Stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were?
When it comes to the economy now, so she's going to directly answer a question about the economy, right?
4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
She was raised as a middle-class kid, which have nothing to do with the economy or whether or not people are better off today than they were 4 years ago.
And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
I have a plan to lift up the people in middle class America. While she's in office right now, folks, as vice president with Joe Biden. If she's going to lift the upper class, she's in power to do it right now. So she's not telling us what her plan is, what her plans are, but she's still not answering the question.
I believe in the ambition.
No one asked you what you believe and whether or not you believe that people have ambition. The question was, are Americans better off now than they were 4 years ago economically?
The aspirations, the dreams of.
No one cares about whether or not you concur with what people are dreaming for. Okay? When the landlord knocks on the door, you can't say, well, listen, here's my dream. Take this as payment for the month.
Of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually.
You can't go down to Verizon and say, I'm going to imagine what I'm going to pay you for my phone bill, and I need for my cell phone to work.
Plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people.
So how did housing become too expensive for so many people? Could it be that they're worse off than they were 4 years ago?
We know that young families need support to raise their children, and
well, if they need support to raise their children, what about our people, the descendants of slaves? Shouldn't you back reparations?
I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000.
People don't need a tax cut when the prices are high. Okay? Doesn't make any sense. They need money on the front end, not money to be able to pay on the back end. People are suffering.
Which is
oh, yeah. By the way, folks, I'm going to let it play, right? But have she answered the question yet? Or is she deflecting?
The largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes.
Buy a car seat that costs more than it cost 4 years ago. See? You see how she hasn't answered the question on why car seats have been so inflated to a degree that they need a credit to buy car seats? Do they think we are dumb? Do they think, and maybe they do think the majority of Americans are dumb, that they'll actually receive this as an actual answer? You know why she can't answer the question? Is America better off now than it was 4 years ago? Because she's been in power under Biden for the last 3.5, 4 years. That's why. And that she would have to be accountable for how everything have went in the toilet since after the election. She'd have to answer, well, how these borders open that have taken all the jobs that belongs to our people, crime shot through the roof, and all these others. She'd have to answer for it.
For their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses.
No one asked her about the passion she has. How can a small business be a passion? Let's see if she has a small business.
Actually, my mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner.
She has her mother's friend was a small business owner, but yet small businesses is a passion of hers. Now, hold up. Now, if this woman was a friend of her mother's, we can assume she was East Indian who had a small business. What does that have to do with us?
Love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start.
Okay, well, what about the people in the hood that are starving who don't own a small business? With an eviction notice on their door. So she's talking about giving money to people who already have it. So this is how you say nothing or be accountable for anything you've done for the last 4 years.
Startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan.
Now, let's deflect to my opponent, on the other hand. When the only thing she had to do, you know how she could have destroyed her opponent? To show forth how everything is better now than it was 4 years ago. Right? And see, they set this debate as such to actually appeal to the lower demographic within our society, who would rather hear an argument than real answers to what's going on in the earth. She disrespected everyone who was listening to her for this answer.
Is to do what he has done before, which is to
do what he done before. I'm not for Trump, but guess what? Everything was better during his administration compared to the last 4 years. And all of a sudden, to make that time looked bad. A pandemic came out of nowhere. And some would question, well, was that politicized to a degree where they can use that and say that something was wrong with the last administration based on the jobs that was lost because people couldn't go to work? And it was really the demo nuts pressing this pandemic thing more so than anyone.
Provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which
No one asked whether or not he did tax cuts for billionaires.
will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a
Brothers and sisters, did she just deflect to the future instead of answering? Is America presently economically in better shape than they were 4 years, than it was for the last 3.5 years? And I don't know who prepared her for this, but I'm going to tell you right now, it was filibustering and wasting time to not answer questions, but still look aggressive as if you're saying something. That's what it was about, folks.
50% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Did she answer the question? Folks, did she answer the question? Now, I wonder with the moderators and her ski-wee sorority sister, I wonder why they didn't take her to task and ask, well, and just state, excuse me, Kamala, we would have appreciated it if you answered the question, actually. But let's hear what Trump has to say. I'm going somewhere with this, folks, so just stay with me.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. They took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China.
Fair use.
In fact, they never took the tariff off because it was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've
Okay, let me interpret this for brothers and sisters who don't know what a tariff is. He was a stickler against China, who's making all this money off American products, actually selling their products to Americans. So he had a tariff and say, well, listen, you're going to pay a 20% tariff for doing business in the United States. And with that tariff, that goes into the economy for Americans. You're not going to use our people and bleed American and taxpayers out to embolden Chinese people. You're going to at least break the American people off, since the American people are purchasing the majority of your products, and you're going to break us off 20% or don't do business here. And guess what, folks? Listen to this. The first couple of weeks when Kamala and Biden was put in the office, they took off the tariff. Not only did they take off the tariff, they did a hate crime bill for the Asians and gave the Asians billions upon billions of dollars. That's just a fact, right? Let's go.
had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country.
Yeah, it's a tax. The tariff is a tax. It's a tax on imports. A tax on imports. She's like, nah, you're gonna pay to do business here. And guess who took the tariffs off? Ski-Wee and Joe Biden. So instead of money coming in for the people, which lower things for our people, right? Hold on a second.
I think they got like a lot of organic food.
Shalom, you know I'm on a broadcast, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Shalom.
I'll call you back. All right. So instead of money coming in that lowers things, the price of living here, they would have people come through the border and take everything so prices could go up.
Buster, it breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions.
I need y'all to listen to this part because this is the part we need to understand. Because their answer to what Trump is saying will become 70 AD for our people. We have people doing what, Trump?
Set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster, it breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history.
Yes, inflation. 4 years ago, inflation was 1%. 4 months ago, it went up to 4%. And because we're in an election year, they started pulling back a lot of their aggressiveness when it comes to spending, and it went down to 3%. So what happens? Inflation tripled since 3.5 years ago. That's why our products are so high. You want to see a Marxist economy at its best? We're looking at it. We're living it.
We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher.
What was your rent if you were renting? What was your rent 4 years ago, and what is it now? What are your interest rates? They're barring people out of the opportunity to be able to actually buy something for themselves, which is really the plan for Project 2030, to have it where the majority of the people in the world don't own anything if they have something to say about it.
Than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people.
And you know what? He's actually answering the question. He's answering the question. Are we better off today than we were 3.5 years ago? He's actually answering the question and breaking down to why things have spiraled out of control to there's debt everywhere. To where you get a little can of juice for $4 that you know used to be this big gallon, and you got this little sleek thing of juice now that can't even wet your whistle. And she calls it price gouging. It ain't no price gouging. It's inflation. When you print and give money to migrants, give them housing, give them EBT cards, give them free food, give them more money than you ever given us. That money have to be printed from somewhere. And the more you print the money, what? The higher inflation goes. So they are intentionally bankrupting the treasury of the United States. It's an intentional Marxist ideology. And all the people that are coming over know it. It's a money grab so that now what? There'll be what? Lines around the corner for food. That's the plan. And when people start fighting like animals, starving, they can bring in the armies to quell dissent. 70 AD, anyone? That's the plan.
Pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions.
And let me tell you, folks, you all are doing a great job. We got 2,600 up in here in the house tonight. I got to give you all a round of applause on that. But we are about 1,000 likes down. We're about 1,000 likes down. Help us out, folks. 'Cause we're going to tie this up in a bow. Hit the like button. Let's go.
And insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking.
He says the people. I want y'all to hear this all the way through. I'm not going to interrupt him. I want to hear this all the way through. Who are they letting in the United States right now?
Because deficit. My opponent has a
Oh
plan.
no,
that
we
I
don't
call
want to. You don't answer questions. You don't answer questions. We got to put you in timeout now. All right, let's go to the next.
To let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk.
Hold up, let me go here.
Tariffs, and yet I had no inflation.
The backs of middle class.
Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. They took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon.
He's telling the truth. They're seeking to put our people, the children of Israel, on the streets. Now, he's talking about the insane asylums and all that in the prisons, but there's another demographic that's coming in. Oh, that money that went to NATO to fight, to defend Ukraine? Oh, you don't think some of them are over here? Let's watch what I'm about to show you.
And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality. And we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what.
You notice they give her the floor to respond to what Trump said, but they never held her to task for not answering the first question. Did y'all notice that? The question was, is the American people financially, when it comes to the economy, better off today than they were 3.5 years ago? Now, notice they give her the floor to answer to what Trump just said. And guess what? Whether you like him or hate Trump, Everything he said was the truth.
Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the
Of course he would leave you the worst unemployment. Coronavirus, people couldn't go to work. How can you count people who couldn't go to work as being left with the worst economy when it was Democrats pressing people to stay home? Y'all see that? So it makes us believe that possibly a lot of what we went through with the code was politically driven. It'll have people thinking that because the economy was going too good for them to run against. It was going too good for them to run against.
Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us.
Let's leave it there. Nonsense. Let me get to the point. Let's get to the point now. Let's get to the point. I need y'all to check out these propaganda pieces because the Venezuelans, they talking about gangs. Those are all Israelites that are coming into the country, right? The Venezuelans and others. Venezuelans, the majority of them are from the tribe of Asher, right? Then they got a hit piece on Haitians coming into the country. Fair use.
Don't wave at me, you sorry sand.
There was Haitians in a white van driving.
There were Haitians in a white van. Now, folks, let me show y'all something. When y'all see people looking like this, all black, black lipstick, sometimes you'll see them and with black fingernail polish, allegedly, a lot of these people be from witch covens. Now, these are the people they usually get for those parades, crowds, for certain crisis actors and all that. They usually get these people to drive the narrative through the media as actors. But check out what she says.
Driving around the neighborhoods, collecting cats, skinning them and eating them.
In my opinion, they're worthless. Bunch of worthless fucking sands.
They're getting thousands of dollars in government assistance. Even
now they're saying the Haitians getting thousands of dollars in government money. They're going into the neighborhood, grabbing cats, Haitians as immigrants, eating cats. Now I believe this is a hit piece, because billions were given to the Ukrainians, white people, housing and everything in the United States, and that's quiet. And no one is talking about the Ukrainians, the number of the Ukrainians who've come into the United States since Biden and Kamala took office. See? No one is talking about, matter of fact, let me show y'all. Brothers and sisters, I showed this in the academy. Number of Ukrainians. Invited to live in United States. Folks, I showed this. Look at this. Check this out. Look at this. Check this out, folks. Look at this, folks. Look at this. Check this out. You can't make this up. Let's start here. The United States has accepted various numbers of Ukrainian refugees since the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Now, this was during Kamala time, including 1,610 in fiscal year 2022, which ended on September 30th, 2020, 34 in July 2024. Now, check this out. The most Ukrainian refugees arrived in the United States in February 22, the same month that Russia invaded Ukraine, pledged to accept 100,000 Ukrainian citizens and others fleeing the Russian invasion. Ukrainian individuals who were paroled in the United States between February 22 and September 24 are eligible for a number of benefits, including settlement assistance and mainstream benefits. That's your tax money, folks. While they say they can't do nothing for you, Ukrainians are getting housing, everything. Listen to this. United States Department of State welcoming Ukrainian nationals to the United States, the Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration. The Ukrainian arrivals through the United States Refugee Admission Program. What do they get? Oh, yeah. What do they get? Housing assistance for Ukrainians. From the Department of California, the same people who just turned down reparations. The UHPS, who came to the United States independently, as well as parolees processed under the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service Program. Uniting for Ukraine may be served through the HAU program. Folks, and I'm talking about in the hundreds of millions of dollars. They want us looking at Ukrainians and Haitians when they talk about the crime and all that. But really, it's really about the population of the United States when it comes to Europeans or white people becoming the minority and not the majority in the future. So this is nation against nation. This is about what? Sustaining their race while demonizing the children of Israel, the United States, which will lead to what? It will lead to 70 AD. Housing programs. And folks, at the same time, she is saying there's nothing for our people. Now, I have to give Trump a little credit. At least he did mention that what they've done has utterly decimated the children of Israel who were living in the United States before all of these immigrants was let in by them. That's the truth. She's here to decimate and gut our people. See, but the answer that he's coming through with, isn't going to help either. Because when they let these troops loose on our people, these people will come against us indiscriminately. They don't have no ties emotionally to us when they start letting these people into our police force, when they start letting people into our military. And now these are the people that's going to go door to door to find out who's legal and who isn't. Oh, y'all didn't know that going door to door was actually within the questions on immigration, did you? Let's go. But I'm just showing you here, they are prepping people and demonizing people against Haitians, saying they're eating cats and all that. And Trump is going to actually use this talking point to why they'll probably need the military. All right. So now let's go. This is a small one. Let's finally get to the root of all of this. Let's get to the root of all this, and let's see what their answer is for immigration.
Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
Now, check out this softball question. Why you wait until 6 months before the election to actually do something? Right? And will you do something different than Joe Biden when she was the border czar? It was her position to oversee the border. You see how they trying to separate her from Biden?
I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking.
Now, did anyone ask her about who she prosecuted? While she was what? A prosecutor in California years ago. Did anyone ask her about who she prosecuted? The question, let's go back to the question. Let's go back to the question.
We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration.
Okay, she's recalling what she's supposed to say when they ask her about the border. Her eyes go up, so she's recalling.
Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration.
You see how she's getting her answer ready to deflect?
Last June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done?
And I have to say, brothers and sisters, with this close-up, I don't know how our people ever received ever even thought in their minds that we were dealing with a sister here. Are we starving for credibility and acceptance so bad that we'll accept someone who clearly have nothing to do with us? But I digress. It's a whole nother conversation.
Anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow.
Why she ain't talking about the the conversation she have had only 2 years ago about it would be inhumane or racist to restrict these people and these children from coming over the border. They were using children and women, but they were really talking about everybody. This was their policy.
Of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would...
Did anyone ask her about who's being affected by fentanyl?
Have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know what?
Oh, so Donald Trump, who's not an elected official, who's actually being prosecuted and charged through all these cases, who's not an elected official, can actually pull more strings to have something happen in the White House than people who are already in the White House? And if that's the case, what is this debate about? If this guy can control things while not being in office, why are you even challenging him? You're saying that he has more power than you. Out of office. After getting convicted. This is a bad look.
Why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a...
Oh, it was Trump's fault that the immigrants were let in by the tens of millions for the last 3.5 years, folks.
Problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems.
Is she answering any of the questions
at hand? But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing.
They done went from immigration to a rally. But I need y'all to listen clearly, folks. His answer to everything led to this broadcast tonight when it comes to what happened in 70 AD. Listen and listen good.
Watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is
these are all deflection tactics. Bad guy. He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. So to not answer any questions. Or be accountable for the present totally decimated economy that's destroying the people here in the country, right? I would respect her if she was to say, you know what? These policies we've done have hurt the people. They've hurt the people. We meant for one thing to happen, but it had consequences and things got out of control and the economy rolled downhill. I would respect her more if she said that. Everything that we did was intentional, but we see how bad things are going. Since I helped break it, here are the directions we'll take going forward to fix it. You can respect a person like that. But you can't respect, folks, a leader is not a person who passed the buck when they are accountable. That's not a leader. A leader takes accountability for what their hands created. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's a leader.
That people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to
Now you notice they're holding him accountable, saying he killed the bill. And you notice they're not aiming the same type of, they're not clamping down on Kamala's inconsistencies at all. Notice that?
the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light.
Fair use.
So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country.
Listen, number one, this is what he says. We're headed into World War III. Number one. Y'all have to listen to what he's saying here. Because if he's the next guy up, they're showing you what they're preparing for. Listen.
By allowing these millions and millions of people to
listen.
And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that...
They're eating dogs and cats. Now, what he's not telling you is this is the demonization of Haitians. This is the demonization of Haitians.
That came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to this.
Oh, you'll fact check him. Right?
City manager there, he told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within.
Are these guys serious? Are these guys moderators? Who's up there debating and is supposed to what? Check Trump for his inconsistencies. Let me tell you, I grew up on the debate team. I've never seen the moderator stand in to debate points and hold someone accountable to what they said. What type of moderation is this? He's fact checking. That's her position, being the opposition to check Trump on his inconsistencies, not the moderator. This is a clown show.
The immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my
dog
was...
Look. Let me be clear. Look at this guy. What moderator say, let me be clear on something?
taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say
I
for
still
a city
need y'all to
manager.
hear what
I'm
he's
not
about to
taking this
say,
from
though.
But the
television.
people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush,
Okay,
Mitt
that's
Romney,
good. That's
and John.
good.
When I hear that, see,
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those
Listen,
people.
y'all.
Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about.
Now, listen here, folks. Listen here. This is the 70 AD moment. This is the corporations asking Trump this question. Listen to this. Now, since we know the immigration is a problem, I said for years, they setting it up to have an excuse to come against our people in the inner cities with police and armies. Listen.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal.
Your deportation proposal. Now, they've already set the table, letting everyone know that there's tens of millions of people that are here illegal in the United States, 10 to 20 million, since the time Biden and Kamala was voted in. So now, what is the mass deportation or the answer for these people now who've been assimilated all throughout the country, unimpeded by the authorities, folks? They're everywhere. So what's the answer?
That the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
National Guard with local police. Remember that. This is coming from Trump now. Here's the answer to what they allowed the last 4 years.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this.
How will you deport tens of millions, over 10 million illegals?
Does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah.
Will you be going door to door in this country? What did Trump say? What did Trump say? Listen good. See, I look at prophecy, folks, and I understand this guy didn't come up with the questions. The corporate payers are asking Trump a question.
You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants?
After they let these people spread all through the country and don't have no idea where they are, up in houses, up in commandeering apartment buildings, Think about this. All over the place, being financed by the government to just run wild without licenses, with cars and everything. And I'm talking about in the millions upon millions of people. How can you bridle something as grand as this without military? It's everything I told people years ago. This was their plan. This is why they were letting them in through the border. Now, because guess what? It doesn't matter who's in position. That would be the only answer for what they allow loose. Same thing with Nero. Same thing in 70 AD. You demonize, they're eating cats, they doing this, they doing that. They're stabbing people, demonizing. So then when the armies come, guess what? Oh, you think they're only going to be focused on illegals? I got an answer for that in a moment.
Immigrants, I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed.
He said, yeah.
Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah.
He said, yeah. Will they be going door to door in this country? Yeah.
It is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in. And all over the world, crime is down. All over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country.
He's going to fact check him again. But now, the immigration is actually dealing on both sides, brothers and sisters. Not only on the criminality side, but also the law enforcement side. Right? Now, what does it look like when our people no longer police our people? Fair use. Let's see what happened when the football player Tyreek Hill was pulled over. What are we seeing? Foreigners policing the streets of the United States. This was the plan, folks. Fair use.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Like what?
Look.
Hey, keep your window down.
Listen to his accent.
Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me your ass. Get out of the car. Give me your ass. I'm gonna break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now.
Look.
We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of violence do you understand? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested.
Listen, all of these guys got to have accents.
I'm getting out, bro. God.
Folks, this is why they're bringing them over. This is why they're bringing them over. This is how they do police in South America and these other countries. And the police departments in these other countries are tied to cartels. Sometimes even in Africa and other places, when you pulled over, hey, you got to just pay some money and say, listen, here's some money, and you look out for me, everything is good. Bribery is the way to go in these countries. Now, suppose they have these people in that mindset who are policing their countries, policing our people. This is what happens.
When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? I'm getting out. You understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you. You're a little confused. I'm getting out, bro. Too late. Too late. All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you.
See that? Do y'all see that? Same thing in 70 AD. They use a pretext. They'll claim that there's some criminality, migrant criminality, and use that as a reason to add money to the budget for foreign police. And then the foreign police aren't getting immigrants. They're getting us. See how they play both sides against the middle? 70 AD all over again. And what are we looking at with that time span? From what? From, when you look at that time span, it was from around 64 BC to where 70 AD was the height. About a 5 to 6 year period to where it will be totally beyond control. And folks, we're entering that by the end of the next administration. Watch what I'm telling you. We're entering that before the end of the next administration. Our people, the children of Israel, God's people, even the Gentiles, even the white Christians in America, better stand up and understand what you're up against, because they are against anyone who believes in Christ. I'm going to tell you that right now. You better stand up, because an invasion of atheists, sinners, perverts, evildoers have been let loose for the last 4 years by the Marxists in this country. They've been let into this country to come against those who believe in Christ. Whether you believe it or not, they're going to start with us, but they're not going to end with us. The white Christians who stand by protecting themselves, not just with the First, but the Second Amendment, is their greatest threat. But the greatest threat, even outside of the carnal weapons they're seeking to actually confiscate, the greatest weapon are those who oppose the God of this world, those who believe in Christ. And folks, that's what they're putting their armies in place for. Our people better wake up. This is where our people are right now. And then I'll open up the lines, Isaiah 30, verse 12. And then I'll have some announcements while opening up the lines here. And you can tell me what you think on this particular scenario, understanding that what? There's nothing new under the sun. We're under the same cycle we were. Demonization before destruction. The same mode they were in before Nero lied on us, demonized our people, and around 64 BC, and used that as a political football aimed towards destroying a specific people who they felt was disrupting the political landscape of Rome. And today, it's those who believe in Christ, primarily the children of Israel. That's who they're targeting. Isaiah 30, let's read that real quick. Isaiah 30. This is what our people are saying. Our people say to the seers, see not. And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things. Our people want us to lie to them. Prophesy deceits. Get you out of the way. Turn aside out of the path and cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. We don't want to hear that Israel stuff. We don't want to hear that Bible stuff. You better hear it. The only answer to how to get through what's about to come or what's here is in this book. It's in this book. The answer, everything I broke down and understood concerning our people, how they would politically come against us in 70 AD, Christ warned us. It was in the book. If you don't listen, you're going down. And our God say, wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word, because you hate the Bible and trust in oppression. You trust in the hope your politicians are giving you. When these are the same people that were set up to what? To keep the status quo, to keep the proverbial Edomite foot on your neck. And you're trusting them. And the only thing I got to say is catchy phrases like, catchy words like hope, change. That's you trusting in oppression. When politicians are put in place to keep the status quo, not to rock the boat. And perverseness. And stay thereon. The only thing that our people, this is why our people trust in oppression. Because what? We're not judged when we indulge in outright Roman perverseness. While oppressed, the only enjoyment we get in this is them allowing us to do what? Go right into their satanic perverted parties and deal with evil satanic sexual access. And a lot of us will compromise our morals for it. LGBTQ, anyone? And stay thereon. Therefore, since you don't want to listen, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall. Just like 70 AD, swelling out in a high wall whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. You've been warned. They're letting these people in for a political reason. And guess what? Every stage have been thought out already, just like in 70 AD. And those who oppose the God of Israel and his son Christ and refuse to come under the hedge will be taken like we were taken in 70 AD. Those who took heed to the prophecy already made provisions through refuge and were guided by the Holy Spirit to escape the destruction that came on our people. And folks, the same spirit of destruction that happened back then is in the earth. And the only way out, like back then, is also in the earth. Which side will you fall on? 515-605-9327. Before I open up the line, let me say outright that this weekend, even though we'll have the ceremony Saturday coming in, we're going to be camping this coming Friday, going out for tabernacles, all right? To set up our tents, RVs, whatever we got out there, as long as we in booths, y'all can bring it all out and we'll camp out together, okay? We'll have food during the whole week. We'll also have different types of small symposiums. We're going to have singing, a lot of entertainment. One thing we're going to be having is discussions, Bible discussions during the week, studies that we'll be doing together during the week, history studies. We have a basketball tournament during that week where, hey, Shawan, you got me a shirt, Elder Lawya a shirt. We're going to get down with the young guys and play a little ball. All right. Hope I don't twist an ankle. And it's going to be a good time with the family from this weekend. Okay. We're going to have a class Saturday, and we're going to close it out next Saturday. Okay. 7 nights, 8 days camping. And brothers and sisters, you're camping throughout the whole earth for tabernacles this weekend. Please be safe, and please leave the grounds how you found them. We're the children of Israel. We're clean people. Don't be leaving some stuff for other people to clean up. If you bring it, take it. Okay? Wanted to put that out there. All right? So with that, we're in the time of Trump, the 7th month, and I believe what came from Trump's mouth is what the world will experience, especially in America, within the next 4 years. Keep your ear to the ground and keep your eyes on this particular channel as long as it's allowed. You see what they did with Candace Owens, right? So what I'm trying to do is make sure that what we're going to do is all the videos and all that's connected with her that we shown through views and all that, we're moving it onto Patreon and moving it into our archive, because during an election season, everything tightens up and the censorship goes through 1,000. So I have to be very careful to keep this channel. So I don't want anything to happen. So I'm going to continue to follow the guidelines for this channel. But if you want unfiltered, uncensored information where I don't have to bite my tongue, please join the Patreon. Patreon.com/agathering144. And that's where we can just cut loose without having to worry about censorship and all these others. Or you still have time. We got about 2 more months leading up to the election for the Academy. All right. So if you join the Academy, we'll make sure you get the prior lessons, and you'll come into this lesson starting this Sunday. The malignant root. How did men and women become enemies? And we're going to have an open discussion. How did this happen? And how do we bring this together before the second coming? That will be the lesson this coming Sunday. But without further ado, let's open up the lines. Go to historytimes.org to enroll if you want to be a part of the Academy. Again, if these classes help you understand and it helps you walk the straight and narrow and keep you on the path, support the channel. Okay, our weekly classes, $GOCC 144 donate, supports the weekly broadcast like you see here. Okay. Now the old Cash App, Gathering 144 GOCC, is no longer taking donations. Okay. We're going to give you a different one in the future. But the top one you see right here, you can still support through $GOCC 144 donate, or you can go to gatheringofchrist.org under donate, and you'll see other options on how to actually contribute to this work. All right. Now, without any further ado, what say you? I want to hear what you have to say. 515-605-9327. And we titled this on Blog Talk, The New 70 AD. The new 70 AD. All right. So I'm going to call in right now. Okay. We got 11 minutes until the queue is closed. Okay. We have 11 minutes before the queue is closed. So if you're going to get in now. 515-605-9327. All right. Let's go.
Blog Talk Radio.
One moment.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
One moment before I take calls. One moment.
Unmuted.
All right, we have about what, 10 minutes in queue. We have 9 minutes. We have 9 minutes in queue, 9 minutes and 25 seconds. So if you have anything to say on the discussion we had tonight, now is the opportunity. We have Auntie B on the line. Been a long time, Auntie B. How are you?
I'm blessed. Shalom, Elder.
Shalom. Talk to me.
I'm seeing things the way it is, and we as a people are highly blessed. So all praises to the Most High for blessing us the way He has. He didn't have to, but He's doing it.
Yes, ma'am.
So they want us to vote for the two of the evils. There is no lesser evil between the two. So I refuse to vote for either. They don't have Ahiah's name or Yeshua's name, so I'm not voting for nobody. If their name was on there, then I would vote. I'm not setting myself up for their downfall for our people, because that's basically what it is. They're doing it already, but I'm not making myself an easy target for them.
Okay. That's good for you, Auntie. Good for you.
Also,
listen. I mean, is there anything is there anything you've heard that you can actually get behind? I mean, they do everything.
No,
what I'm saying is they do everything for everyone else and leave our people with nothing. And guess what? The last 4 years have been a straight. They spat in our face the last 4 years. Not only
and kicked us.
Listen, sister. Not only I'm gonna let you in. Not only did they get voted in off of the backs of George Floyd and our people marching, no soon as our people got them into office, Biden said, "What? The black people had my back, and I'm gonna have your back." And you know what they did? They took a knife and went right in our back. Signed a hate crime. Listen, a hate crime bill for Asians. They refused to give our people reparations. And then they opened up the border and gave all this money, tax money, that our people accumulated while building this country, and gave it to foreigners. That was a straight slap in the face, spit in the face. And if anybody...
And the alphabet people.
Yeah, they gave money to the gay people, to the Ukrainians. They gave it to Israel. And now the Palestinians are protesting because they want a bag. So the whole deal is, listen, is there anything? Voting is a transaction. So even if there were two evils, but one said, you know what? Even Pharaoh allowed us to borrow from the Egyptians to get paid on the way out. Okay? So Pharaoh was evil, but you can still do what's right by the people who made your country. And that's the issue. But now if you make a personal choice not to do that, you know what? With you and your forefathers dying for the right to vote. Well, guess what? What else is encompassed within that vote? The right not to. So the fact that you've taken that right and not utilizing it speaks volumes too. You can speak without voting by not doing it. So, hey, but I'm just saying, even if you wanted to, what are you getting for it? But go on.
Yeah, he said he'll have our back. He got our back to throw us on the ground and walk on us or stab us and say, take that, take that, take that. I got you where I want it. Take that.
Oh, no Diddy over here. Come on now, girl. What you been listening to? All right. Let me go to the next call now, Auntie. But I'm with you.
Okay, Elder. One thing, can you please give me a call after the show? I have something of very importance, dire importance. I need to talk to you about.
I can't do it tonight, sister.
Here.
I can't do it tonight, but I guarantee you, I will definitely call you tomorrow, Auntie.
Please do. Please do. It is very important that you will do.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Lawya.
Hold on before you hang up. I'm gonna put your number down in front of me. So I'm gonna put it on a sticky.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sister. I'm gonna call you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, Lawya. Everybody be blessed.
All right.
Keep your eyes open to everything, because I just witnessed something that almost happened to me, but I had my eyes open and seen it.
What almost happened to you?
There was, I don't know who they were, what nationality they were, but it was early one morning. I was taking my dogs outside. I had one dog with me, and I just moved to a new area. There was a white van. You know, they have what they call the snatcher van. No windows, no tent, just a solid white van. They came through one parking lot and were sitting watching me. And then they disappeared and came through another parking lot where they were sitting in front of me, where I have my dogs to go and use the bathroom. They stopped there, and I seen the door start sliding. I snatched my dog up, and I ran back in my house. I came in here and got my protection. I woke my husband up and said, "Hey, something ain't right out there.
Poppin'.
Let's get it."
Let's get it.
And he came back outside. We came out with all three of my dogs.
All right.
And togetherness.
Well, sister, guess what?
And
that van you talking about, this is not the first time. That same van, they do stuff like that over in Egypt and all that. So believe it or not, a lot of these foreigners are in connection with the black market for allegedly getting to get organs and all that. So believe me, we're nothing more than a piece of meat for some of these people who've done this back home. So I'm so glad you're safe.
I wasn't gonna be one of them.
Okay, hey, that's why they come up with all these little drills and all that as a pretext to try to disarm citizens. But I'm gonna let that be. I'll call you tomorrow, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Have a blessed night.
I'm so glad you're safe. Bless you. All right. We have Brother Kayem.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, sir. How are you?
All right, pretty good, sir. Double honor to you, sir. And again, Elder, we just talked about this a few years ago about, because I'm glad you brought it up, about they're talking about certain magazines, the children of Israel. But, they was letting in the other nationality, what's that, the Ukrainians and all them?
Yeah, they're not saying, you notice they're not putting no negative at all on Ukrainians. Ukrainians are just coming through. They just sneaking through with no fanfare. And it's intentional. And guess what? Ukrainians are getting serious housing. I'm talking about they getting whole neighborhoods built for them. And I'm talking about very nice suburban housing. And you will never know they're Ukrainian until they talk with you. I'm gonna tell you, right up under the radar, they getting everything, but yet our people are the ones demonized. So check that out. That's racist in of itself. But go on.
Definitely, sir. And it's like, I was thinking about Jeopardy, right, Elder? I was like, you know what? ISIS, Taliban. And then I said, hold up. You got people taking over apartment building, and you got lies being spread about eating dogs. I'm like, hold up. If we in America, aren't we used to these type of agendas of placing certain people and making it seem like it's all people, and then making because it's like they talking about they taking over apartment building, but it's like, of course you're gonna have a few bad apples, what I mean. But the whole thing is the demonization of our people, and they want to turn everything against our peoples. But the whole thing is, Elder, what I've learned, and all the lessons I've learned watching watching everything that you and our leadership brings, Elder, the Most High is going to turn it around and have these people know who they are. They're going to get out of the Catholic Church. They're going to get out of the spirituality. And a lot of these people that are coming in is going to be a part of the awakening. So, all praises to Elder.
I can see that. But they spreading a wide net so they can justify raiding people housing and all that without any pushback. Because what has been in front, guess what? One of the biggest obstacles, brother, has been for them is the Constitution, right? So how can you actually just undo the Constitution when it comes to, you're not supposed to be able to go into someone's property without probable cause. But now you can just, if you spread people everywhere, you can now kick down doors, violate their constitutional rights, and say, "Oh, I thought there was an illegal up in here." See? So the biggest obstacle was getting around the Constitution. But if you flood the earth with illegals who don't have constitutional rights, you can use that as justification to actually undo probable cause. I mean, they're very slick. But thank you, my brother.
All
right.
Elder, real quick. I'm looking to the Hell's Angels. They're supposed to be talking about how they're going to go ahead and fight against the Venezuela. So it's a story on that. Look that up, Elder. We get an opportunity.
I'm gonna look it up. Hey,
so much for you.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna look it up. But hey, nation against nation. Hey, they can knock themselves out. Listen, I'm in it. I'm not in it. I'll be praying.
Yes, sir.
My brother.
Sir. Love you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. All right.
Yes, sir.
Shalom. Great call.
Shalom.
Shade has a comment. How you doing, Shade?
Hey, my brother. How you doing, Elder?
I am blessed by the Almighty. How you doing, Shade?
Amen. Amen. I'm in California, man. I've been following you for about 6.5, 7 years now, and man, I've learned a lot and definitely seen a lot. In California, man, is woo. And you talking about just immigrants coming in. Where I'm from the Bakersfield area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's between Los Angeles and Fresno, California.
Okay.
And man, the East Indians, Pakistanis, I'm talking about, are packing this area up. You can see how they're piling people. And this is an area that, the city is growing still a lot. And you can see a lot of immigrants coming in. And like you said, you don't even know they're immigrants. With the East Indians, you can, but there's Ukrainians and different people that are coming in. You don't even know. I'll be in the market, buying something with my wife and my kids. I look over and I hear a foreign language. I'm like, man, I just thought they were, regular white people, man, but they're speaking different languages in that. So I can see that surrounding us, and a lot of people right now politically are getting caught up in this whole political campaign, but it's poison either way. And really, if you're black and you believe in Christ, you should not even be thinking about voting in this. After the historical things that's happened, and nothing has happened for us. Nothing has been done for us. There's too much information. You can click Google right now and find out too much information. It's just foolish to be caught up in this voting thing.
And like I said, I'm glad. Let me ask you. The people around you, our people in California, do they recognize the landscape has changed and what that means for them going forward? Are they talking, at least? Are they talking about, about what's going on around them?
You'll hear talks, just small little enclaves. Most of the, like, our people here in California, they're like so concerned with having rights. We're talking about rights that we've been had these rights, right? So the whole campaign here is, freedom to do whatever you want to do as I please. And, the campaign is real hard here on, my body, my choice, right? So you get a lot of people now, women and men, that are like really backing this. I'm like, that shouldn't even be an issue. First of all, if you're a Christian, you should definitely not even be supporting that at all. But you'll hear talks where people are like, man, but it's really through, like, economics. So it's like prices, complaining about prices and taxes and things like that. But you really don't hear people really talking about, on, just on the spiritual side, right? Following Christ and having the answer. It's like everybody knows the problem, but they're not recognizing the solution.
Well, check out how backward things has gotten. You have our people who are predominantly Christians saying, "My body, my choice," and we're Christians.
Yeah.
You have gay people who cannot naturally have children saying they want children and are adopting children. How backward is that? The same people, right? Think about this. Our people who are Christians saying it's okay to get rid of our children through abortion. Gay people who really that action according to God is anti-Bible are saying, we want family. If you don't want the baby, we'll adopt it. So, I mean, they done twist things upside down. Now, check this out. When we get in a relationship, a man and woman, I hear this stuff from not just women, but men, that we're partners. Gay people, gay people used to be partners. Now they're married. Look at the role reversal. Where through this social programming, we've taken on their verbiage, and they have taken on the righteous verbiage. We strive to be partners. They strive to be married. We strive to get rid of our children. They strive to adopt them. Boy, have Satan turned this world upside down. And I'm going to be talking about that this Sunday. Thank you, my brother.
Wow. That's, man, you laid it out right there. And I just wanted, just one more comment, Elder, and I work in a public school. I've been teaching for 14 years now. And, I always often talk to my wife like, man, you know what, I need a thing. There's got to be an exit plan because it's getting worse and worse in that. But what I'm finding out is, first of all, for men, whether you black, white, or a lot of men are not standing up and not, as a Christian man, not standing up. They're just allowing things and, like that, like partners. Like, ooh, my wife is my wife. She ain't my partner. Like, and so these things are being allowed because people are just going with the flow instead of standing up. And what they don't realize is when we stand up, that's when God allows the Holy Spirit to protect us. We're not going to be raptured up. We got to, God is going to, save us through there, but we got to go through the trials like everyone else. And if we're not standing up, there's no protection for you now. And that's what I'm seeing. A lot of people just taking the easy road. And I see that in men today. Instead of standing up and speaking as a man, they just go with the flow. So,
well, brother, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head.
Brother Shade, we're going to need brothers like you because there's a dearth of male teachers. And so I want to talk to you about putting a program together so that we can get some schooling going on for our people. Right? So I'm going to give you a call sometimes next week while I'm out camping, okay? We're going to talk.
Yes, brother. Yes, I've been thinking about that for some years now, Pastor. I've been thinking about that.
It's time.
Man,
it's time.
Hey, man, just give me a call. I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm fully credentialed. So please, man, wherever the Lord can use me, man, I'm available.
Okay, well, I want to do like a co-op type of teaching thing internationally where people can come in through every grade and learn not just their ABCs, their mathematics, but true history in the curricula, and still be able to go take their SATs at their respective areas, under a homeschooling program. So I'm going to put this together. I'm going to talk to you about it.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it, brother.
All right. Shalom.
Okay.
All right.
Stay blessed. Shalom.
All right. Okay. We only got a few more moments before the broadcast is done. I'll take the last few calls and then we'll wish you all Godspeed until this weekend. Eunice has a comment. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably get some data on how many teachers we have internationally and get a data sheet on that to be able to reach out to people, to begin figuring out how we can put this together with teachers. Okay. How you doing, Eunice?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Elder?
I'm doing well. I'll be taking a list for teachers very soon, so be looking out for that, y'all. Talk to me, Eunice.
For some reason, I get nervous every time I talk to you, but shalom.
Shalom. There's no need to get nervous. I'm your brother. Talk to me.
I will kind of piggyback on what the Ox said before. It's crazy. If you go back to many years ago, about Central Park in New York.
Yeah.
Actually, there used to be a black community.
I know.
They were thriving there, and the people of Manhattan wanted a park. And guess what? The place where the black people were, it seemed like a great place to put a park. But they couldn't just force the people to leave. So they did something called eminent domain. Which kind of forces you to go, even though you don't want to go, that's their property. But hey, you know how it was for us back in the day.
Okay.
So they always found a way to get what they wanted.
Well,
so
you know what's wild to me? Not that I could care less. How they've used media to pin the Central Park Five and what happened to them on Donald Trump. It's kind of crazy to me. It's like
they've always tried to pin Donald Trump as the bad guy.
Listen, I'm just saying though, Donald Trump has the prosecutor was a Democrat.
Yes.
The judge was all these people were Democrats. It was a Democrat city, New York.
So
he took out an ad after one of the young guy's father got him to actually confess to the crime. So after a confession, Donald Trump put that in the newspaper. I mean, I'm just saying the media, it's like Malcolm X said, be careful with that liberal media. It can have you hate the oppressed and love the oppressor. It can flip things around through media. It's magic. And at the same time, Trump was beloved by everyone out there back then. Michael Jackson and everybody, no one blamed him at all for putting that out there at that time. And see, you have to be old enough to understand, like you and I back then, what was going on, to understand how ridiculous that Central Park documentary was. And I'm going to tell you straight up, that was a Democrat hit piece that they put out at a certain time to do what? To actually impact the election. It was a Democrat hit piece. Let me tell you, man, the Democrats, even before Martin Luther King, was always grimy. They were the ones, Democrats, that were hanging us from trees in the South. It's like they just slimy. But thank you, sister. Bless you.
Shalom.
Shalom. Charity has a comment.
Hello, Shalom.
Shalom. And see, that's why, thank you. Someone says that's why she's going to throw away the TV. Folks, that's why I tell y'all, folks, don't listen to what you hear on the TV. TV is sheerly entertainment. That's it. And it's programming. That's why they call it program. So I filter everything I see through what I know in here. We talked about the propaganda department of the United States last Sunday in the Academy. Do you know that the United States government has a propaganda department? where it's justifiable for them to say untruths or not absolute truths for the sake of national security. So they can actually say, they can put a piece together and have everyone believe that it happened that way. But it's only propaganda. So, hey, that's why when the George Floyd thing happened, when all these stuff happened, I'm like, listen, don't get triggered with what y'all see on the TV, folks. They'll trigger you emotionally, and you'll realize that that they actually pulled you into their spell for their political outcomes. So when I hear about a shooting, when I hear about this, listen, if I didn't see it, it didn't happen. Go ahead, Charity. Sorry about that.
Shalom, Elder. Nah, you're good. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that regarding the immigrant situation,
yeah,
I just want to confirm, because like with the job that I have, it's so true, because, and I think that I know for sure they're lying about the numbers that they let in, because I worked at LAX for the past 5 years, and I was a customer service agent.
Okay.
And I used to check the people in. Like, I worked for, like, the top 5 legacy carriers. I got friends at United, American. They were coming in, Delta, all that, Alaska. They were coming in by the thousands. Like, thousands. I was checking them in. Like, me and my friends, we were checking them in. They're coming, like, they got 5, 10 people in their family each. They're giving them money. They're shipping them up north. So, like, a lot of where the Venezuelans are in Denver, they're, like, sending them to, like, you said they got whole neighborhoods. Look up Kent, Washington. Like, they got the whole neighborhoods. Like, they're just shipping them to Oregon, shipping them to Washington, shipping them to up those north states, the northern states. And they're giving them a lot of money. Like, I saw it with my own eyes. And then also, like, with the job that I have now, I'm security. I do security as well. Like, I'm a flight attendant, and I do security on the side. I'm supposed to have my arm credential, right? And they've been kind of like, they've been hindering it, but like they'll let these other people who are Middle Eastern, they'll come in and they're putting them in like straight away to these armed roles, straight away to these ranger positions to like govern our people, and they don't have no type of respect for our people. Like they come over here and they're taught to look down at our people. Like we don't have no God, we don't have no shame. Like look at us, like, cause I work at a homeless center. So it's like, it's a lot of our Judah people who are like out of their minds at their lowest estate. And they're just taught to like, they already see us as a lower estate. So, like, when they come over there, they got guns, and, like, so any type of minor aggression, they're ready to put them down. So it's just, like, I confirm it, and then it's, like, a lot of people coming over here, they're getting police jobs, but they don't respect our people in the community, and these are the people that are governing, like, that are patrolling our communities, and it's like you don't even know our people, you don't even understand our people, like how we talk or anything. So it's like any little thing, you're ready to pull the trigger. And I just confirm you because that's what I see all the time. Like, and I know for a fact that they're giving them thousands of dollars, and a lot of people were coming in that summer, from the time that you listed, from the 2022 to like September, like it was thousands up to thousands, because I checked them in, and like I processed their passports. So it's like it was a lot of them coming.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know they bringing over, but let me tell you, they're in for a rude awakening. I'm going to tell you, sister, I'm going to tell you, it may take Judah a couple of minutes to figure out what's going on, but when we figure it out, things get popping. So I don't know where they're from, but after what we went through with chattel slavery and everything else, I don't think anything they've ever experienced in their life can have them understand what they're up against when it comes to our people. The Most High made us into something else with what we went through. So they didn't have to go through that. They don't know how it is to be exiled and thrown away by your own people, only to rise above it all against the enemy. Now, if you trap that type of person in the corner, guess who's going to come out of that corner a winner? So I don't know what they think this is. Maybe they got MTV or BET over there. But guess what? What Judah can become was never televised. Okay? So they may think they're ready for what's about to happen. And especially when our God gets behind us. When all of this is going to move us into a corner, and it's going to be the Red Sea on one side and Pharaoh's army on the other, and then our God will intervene. And guess what? They will get twisted like Philadelphia pretzels. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate you. Good point, though. Everything you're saying is real. It's here. It's here.
Yeah, I see it. Like, I see it every day. And then, like, a lot of those squatter incidents, you say, like, because, you know, you can't really tell that they're different from the Edomites until they start talking. Yeah. I watch a lot of the ring camera footage. A lot of the people that we're having the squatter situations with are, like, immigrants. They're like those people, and it's like they're like coming into people's houses, and it's like I've seen a lot of people have to go through the process of evicting an intruder out of their own house. And I just thank the Most High that, like I said, I'm a flight attendant. I'll be gone sometimes, that I haven't had anyone like I have to deal with that. So I've been protected.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, sister, keep your head up. Great call, and stay prayed up. We're in it. But guess what? We're in it to win it. Bless you. All right, we have Kelly, and then we'll end it with Sunshine. How you doing, Kelly?
Hey, shalom, brother.
How you doing, sir?
I'm okay. It's a pleasure to speak with you, man. I have seen you years ago when you was maybe younger. Mm-hmm. But I have a question. This might not be on the topic, but you claim Judah, right? You from the tribe of Judah?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question? Is your mother from the South?
Yes, my mother's from North Carolina. My father's from Virginia.
Okay, because I don't know if anybody told you this, but you act like a priest. You have the spirit of a priest, bro, like Levi.
Hey,
now the brothers. Oh, okay. So since you say that, hey, bro.
When I say who knows, I was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana, but my father, I know he's from Virginia, and we have, believe it or not, we have a long history of pastors on my father's side. Now, I wouldn't doubt if I'm probably my mother on my mother's side is Levi, but my father, oh yeah, he's Judah.
Okay. Well, you say your mother, maybe your mother, because I'm from the South.
Okay.
I was born and raised in the South, and we know, like, that spirit, it's like a vibration. You know who's like African American, Haitian, Jamaican. You can automatically pick it up. Now, the spirit you have, and the passion and the humbleness you have a spirit like a Levite.
I know a lot of patient Judites, but hey, brother, hey, listen. If the Most High showed me later that I'm of Levi, then hey, as long as I'm up in there, I'm okay.
Okay.
Right
now, all praises. Okay, now I want to ask you a question. Is there any kind of way possible that we can have a talk, outside of this live talk? Because when I came home, I seen you on YouTube and it was live, and I've been trying to get a hold of you to talk to you for years. So
when you came home from where?
From work.
Okay.
When I came home from work, I seen you. I was on YouTube. I seen your live video was live, so I wanted to talk to you about some things.
Okay.
Okay,
Kelly.
Also with the.
I'll tell you what, Kelly. I just wrote your number down. I'll put you in parentheses. I'm gonna put this sticky up, and I'll call you before 3 o'clock tomorrow. Is that good?
Let's see, before 3. It'll be any time before 3.
It'll be around 3.
Okay. Round 3. All right. Yeah. Would you call me brother? I appreciate it, bro.
I'll call you, my brother.
It'll be and bro, I asked the Most High to put, to pray, just I want you I ain't gonna ask. Not asking you, but I'm just asking you to pray on this, because your spirit is a Levite, bro, and it's on you. So it's just because I see a lot of these brothers in these camps, and Judah has a more of a aggressive approach, and you have more of an approach to. I think I might not be, I don't want to go off my opinion but you can pull us together, bro. That spirit on you. You don't have that argumentative, debative, grouchy spirit. You have a spirit that can unite these camps, bro. It's on you, bro.
Well,
and
brother, I appreciate it, brother. All praises be to the Most High, but a lot of what you see is through time and experience. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of work, study, time. But if you would, you know what? I wasn't that bad in my 20s, but on the street, I used to top fire to them in my early 20s. But I was still patient, and it comes with how you're raised too. So listen. Christ is from Judah. Christ was patient. Christ was a loving man. He wasn't impartial. He judged equitably. So I mean, hey, Martin Luther King, he was Judah. That's one of the smoothest men in the history of this earth, in our current time. So I don't know, but I'll tell you what. Hey, if I'm Levi, I'll take that 100%. Because Levi, let me tell you, when Levi is in the spirit, let me tell you, Levi is cold. John the Baptist,
and you have
the sons of Zadok. Let me tell you, Levi are nothing to play with. And I'm talking about when they're on the righteous side. Yeah, you can't even mess with them when they're in the dark side, because they deal with that on another level. But when they're on the righteous side, man. But thank you, brother.
You don't sense that, brother?
Huh?
You don't sense that a little bit?
Brother,
Maybe
listen. The only thing I am is a servant. And I never go into, if I'm Judah, Levi, I think I'm Judah, but I can't focus on that. I got work to do.
Yeah.
Right? And Christ, let Christ straighten that out as it goes. But I'm here to work. Okay? And
okay.
I'm here to work.
I got some work for you.
Okay, we'll talk.
You gonna call me?
Didn't I say I'm gonna call you around 3?
All praises.
My brother. All right.
All right, Elder Rawchaa, all praises.
All right, my brother. All right.
Okay.
Sunshine. How you doing?
Hi.
How you doing, sister?
Hi, Elder. Hi.
Break it down.
Hi. Shalom. Okay. Elder. Wow. There's nothing new under the sun. Back belly inside, we are seeing the same tactics used during the time of Nero realized in the world today. And just as the walls encroached and strengthened against us, are putting us in them, from that same time, we're feeling the same pressing in on Israel now, though in similar and different ways. They're creating artificial scarcity, just as before, lessening access to food, available and appropriate housing, medical care, and any essentials. And they're now using borders that are physical, legal, or even invisible to herd the poor into spaces that would make the people easy targets. Israel is being used against Israel, others against others, and all against Christ and those for Christ, just as prophesied, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and realm against realm. And the setup is clearly shown according to prophecy, just as was stated tonight. Many are in a frenzy, running confused on the earth as blind madmen led by media and every wind of doctrine, New Age, and they are straight brazen against us and souping us in this Babylonian melting pot to eventually create the boil over, fanning the flames that make us who we are, spread across the world, only to dissect us and our strength into various groups, whether it is fake nationalities or sexual communities or political viewpoints. They do this all and then abandon us as crabs in a bucket, dog eat dog, watching the wreckage of their devices against us fall into these masses or graves. But regardless of the tactics used against us and the blatant disregard and disrespect that they have, and they've shown to the children of Israel, and especially Judah, the neck, and tricks given to us from smiles and collard greens to pledge tax cuts. We who were once blind with the rest are now pulled out of the world like Christ by grace, and can now see by the grace of a higher. We can see what's coming from a mile away. And because we have the word and our teachers, we know that we can navigate the changing terrain and dodge and weave and realize when or how we're being used and against one another, Jew or Gentile in Christ. And the path we free will choose to walk is like none like theirs. And by grace, we company with those of like mind. And by his grace, we are ready and we're born to do this.
Oh,
so we will
shucks,
take
now.
every righteous step.
You got it. There it is.
By grace from the Most High.
Oh, yeah.
We were ready. We were born ready.
We were born ready. Sunshine, I did receive.
We were born ready.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hey, sister, I received your USB thumbnail. I think you got songs on there, right?
Yeah, there I do.
Okay, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to see what skills you're bringing, all right? Well, thank you. I may play a few of your songs soon. All right. That concludes our broadcast.
Praise the Most High.
Praise the Most High.
We're born ready.
Oh, we're born ready. There it is. I'm Elder Rawchaa, the Gathering of Christ Church. Here it is, the beginning of troubles revealed. Trump already dropped what to prepare for if he's elected. And guess what? As we come close to that time, understand the spirit of 70 AD is near. Now, we do have some time. Keep your ears and eyes open. Stay clicked in. Get your passport, your identifications right. Get your affairs in your home together. We're on our way to Zion. Why? Because Babylon the Great is fallen. Shalom. Have a blessed evening, and I'll see you all during Feast of Tabernacles. We're the children of Israel, and we're back. Have a great night.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. Africans told us at gunpoint to gather our wives and children, then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here.